Hi everyone. Good afternoon. How are we all doing? Energy level, where is it? Okay, somewhere. Thank you. I want to welcome you to this session. And I'm talking about creating an inclusive residential life environment. And I might not go, I'll try, but I might not go completely through the slides because I want to make sure that this is an interactive session. And we're going to be a bit vulnerable in this presentation. And it's going to start from me. And because I know that this topic is something that I assume everyone is familiar with. We all talk about inclusion and diversity almost every now and then. And so I believe that every one of us has one story or the other that is very relevant to this topic. All right, so before I start, I'm particularly interested in inclusion because there's a way you feel when you get to a place where you feel outside of those people around you, where you get to and you feel like you are just the odd one out of the system. There's a way it makes you feel, there's a way it makes you react to things. Now, I remember growing up, there were times that personally I didn't just fit into things, maybe because I was just that's maybe my personality, you know. And in the midst of that, there's a way I react to things because of being left out of things or not being carried along. Now, I've been studied for over 6-8 years in Nigeria, and I got into the United States of America for the first time. There were some things I experienced that made me like, okay, is being black something to be so conscious of? And I started learning a lot of things about history and higher education, and that made me start saying, oh, okay, these things are really important issues, you know. So there was this happened to me. There was a day I was going into the residential hall, and I came out. I think I was making a call. I came out to the back exit, and as I came out, I saw some group of students. I think mostly girls. They were trying to come in, and as they saw me, instead of coming from the back exit, they went all the way around. So I found what's happening here. So what I did was I came in, then went to the other entrance. I was just curious to know what was happening there. So I went to the other entrance, and I saw that they didn't come in through that entrance because they saw me. I was like, was I putting on something awkward, or did I look awkward, or what was the problem, you know? So, why am I sharing this story? The way people feel when they are made to be seen as awkward or odd or not among this particular group, it's important, it's an important feeling. And especially for those who you will be dealing with as RAs, your residents. You're going to have people that are coming from different places, different backgrounds, different experiences. So how do we ensure that they live in a place where they feel at home? All right? So the objective for this presentation is understanding inclusivity, which I believe you have a good grasp of, so I won't stay long on that. Fostering an inclusive community and environment that people feel welcome at all times, and then addressing bias and promoting equity. So, why does inclusivity matters in the Hall of Residence? Of course, we want a place where people can be free to be who they are. They don't have to start talking in some particular way or dressing in a particular way just to feel among. They should be their original self, you know. That's why it's important. That sense of belonging. Everyone is unique, everyone is different, and accepting them for their difference. Also, it's important because the purpose of making people live in the Hall of Residence is also to give them a pleasant experience. You know, there are some halls that people live here at UVM, and it's the feedback or the things we read online about the experiences of students in those halls are not so good. And I know some of you must have come across some things like that, where people are like, I hate this stuff, like, do this and all that. So we want to try as much as possible to make sure that as we are doing our programs, as we are interacting with residents, we make sure that they are having a fantastic living experience and they are learning, having positive feedback and experience in the halls. And also, we don't want to use all the time that we're going to be RAs this session to be handling conflicts every time, settling disputes. We definitely know that issues will come up, but that should not be what we should be solving throughout the semester. If the environment is inclusive, you will have minimization of conflicts. People won't, feel like I'm not included, so I have to do something to get attention. So barriers to inclusivity. Again, we have implicit bias. That's quite similar to the training you just had here, the session we just had here about unconscious bias. These are the things that make inclusivity difficult when we just see some people as not part of the group. Implicit unconscious bias. That happens a lot, and it's something that we need to be conscious of and catch ourselves at all times. Whenever we do that, to be able to make changes. Another thing is cultural misunderstanding. As much as possible, I try to encourage RAs or anybody that I have this conversation with, that you can try to read about other people's cultural heritage. For instance, if you have blacks as part of your residence, you have people from other countries, from France or from anywhere that you are not really familiar with, so that you can make them feel included. It could just be something little that you learn, that you tell them, and they're like, oh, this person knows some things. It may just be one thing, and that will make them feel like, yeah, this is my place. So learning something little about, learning something little about their culture or background goes a long way. Also being resistant to change. We must be flexible as we do this role. We must keep learning, knowing that there are different ways to doing things. You can't say that, this is the way I've been working as an RA, and this is the way I must do it this time. When you encounter different people, what are other ways that you can make sure that they are part of the team? Is this the way maybe you've been organizing your program in this particular way? Or it must be in the building. Or you have people who want to go out, people who are used to, if it's not in the winter like this, come on, go out. Put some spice, add some differences, uniqueness to how you do things. And also stereotypes and prejudice is another thing that is a serious barrier to inclusivity. Just look at people and judge them. Oh, this is the way this person talks, or this is because of the way this person talks. I think this person is this, or this person is that. These are things we need to catch ourselves and stop ourselves from doing. So, what are the strategies to foster an inclusive environment? It's one of the things we are doing right now: training, educating yourself, reading books, just trying to familiarize yourself with things happening beyond your immediate environment. There's this funny thing that I and my colleague usually, I think we talk about it on a few occasions, like when people see, should I say Nigerians or maybe Ghanaians, are you from Africa or are you from Nigeria? And the way they say it such that it's like Africa is just have like one or two countries, like it's just one small place there. Meanwhile, we make people sometimes feel that way too, maybe coming from different places of the world. We must try and check out and know that Nigeria is not just, Africa is not just one country. We have over 50 countries. It's a huge place. So things like that are also things we need to pay attention to, try and learn, be open in conversations, and then as ROs, definitely that you will be the one you're at the forefront. You're going to be addressing issues when they come to you. Have conversations, and whenever there are biases, address them. Also representation. As you do programs, as you do your bulletin boards, make sure that everyone is carried along. The type of designs you do. I've seen a lot of creative bulletin boards from you all, so I know that definitely you do something good. Sometimes, I think there was one I saw that was very, was it this semester or last semester? Okay, I think 2 semesters ago, where names of people were put on the bulletin board and they were to do something, maybe design a part of the board themselves. Everyone's name was there. You made them participate. I thought that was very interesting. So seeing how we can carry everyone along in discharging our duties as RAs is very important. Also, when events come up, events like a particular celebration of a holiday or something unique to different people in our community, let's make sure we kind of celebrate with them or we pay attention to that. All right. What are practical tools for addressing bias? I'm going to talk about, just mention these 3, and then I'll just hear from you that what are the things, or what are the ways in which you think we can address bias in our community. Number 1 is, of course, recognizing it. When people do things that are explicitly biased, we want to address them, we want to recognize and address it and correct that, and also providing resources. When you recognize that somebody has some certain biases and you've spoken with them, and encourage them. If there are things that you have read or you have watched that has helped you or broadened your mind or your scope about a particular thing, you can share. And also attentive listening. We listen, we don't judge. So listen to people, it's important. And as RAs, I feel that this is one very important skill. Not a combative listener. You are listening to both parties. You are going to be having, of course, conflicts happen. You don't want to just take side with one person. And sometimes we do this unconsciously. Maybe this person, not necessarily even your friend, maybe the way the person looks like you, or maybe there's something you just like about the person, or that just connects you to the person quickly. You want to listen to both parties and be able to address whatever bias you notice in your community. Also, conflict resolution is very important for addressing biases in the community. Dialogue, talking through issues, very key too. So, just 1 or 2 minutes from you all, what are the practical ways you think or you have used in time past to address bias in your building, in your floor, maybe during an event that you can share with us? Maybe just 1 or 2. Oh, I have 2 minutes. What's your name?
My name is Liz. So I'm a mid-year, so I haven't had experience with a floor bias, but from an activity bias with Boy Scouts of America, I guess. So I was one of the first female members to get my Eagle Scout in Vermont. And so coming in, I mean, it's a very male-dominated program, so having to face a lot of the biases with being women in the program can be a little overwhelming, and having people talk to you like, why did you say Girl Scouts, or there's some other programs you can do with Girl Scouts, but facing that bias and going like, well, like I'm here to be treated equal, like I'm here because I like camping, being in the outdoors, and really talking to people like why you're there and really separating yourself from your gender. And like, I think I'm a very girly person, but I wouldn't let that stop me from doing what I loved. And so talking to other girls, like younger girls, and like mentoring them through the program, and had to make it clear, like, we're here, we're gonna be treated equal, you're not gonna let this be a male-dominated program. Like, girls were introduced to Boy Scouts in 2019. And so being one of the first founders of Troops and really introducing the program and kind of like bringing them up and watching them grow was really powerful. And so that's something how I address the bias.
Thank you. I think one thing I picked there is standing your ground. You are going to also have conflicts where the people involved want to take charge. Why don't you do it this way? Or this is the way things, this is the way I talk, or this is the way I do things. But as the RA there, you want to make them know that or see how it's important for them to be able to do things in the way that other people don't feel excluded. That's really important. Yes, please go.
I'm Marquita. I'm a returner RA. I had to address a bias last year with one of my residents that had been brought to my attention via another resident who had a friend come on campus and noticed this incident, and I had no idea that it was considered that it was a bias until it had been brought to my attention, because it's the hard part when you're not like brought into and being able to learn about all those cultures without all different cultures without it being like brought to your attention. And so I went up to this resident during a duty walk with my duty partner because I didn't want to address it alone since it was my first bias incident. And I knew the resident and I understood to a certain extent, I think, as to why this situation like kind of occurred. I don't want to get too deep into it, obviously, but after like talking to the resident about it, like they were more than willing to like remove the bias from open view. And although they did keep it in their space, it wasn't in an area where it made other individuals uncomfortable. And the fact that they were willing to recognize that it was causing harm and an extent to other individuals who came to our campus, I think was really great, especially since like I was able to, like me and my duty partner were able to talk to them and like explain that like it was impacting others.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, as we discharge our duties as RAs, as I keep saying we, of course, I'm an RA right now. All right, so the goal is to see how we can promote equity. You know, as I said earlier, there are different people that will be coming into the halls of residence from different backgrounds. How are we ensuring that their participation in programs, in the hall? You know, naturally, there will be people, there will be students, residents that come in and they are very outgoing, energetic, and all that. But there will be some that are just reserved, not outgoing, not really talking to people. How do we make sure that whatever we are doing, they still feel carried along? And sometimes it may mean you going an extra mile in talking to them, making them know that, oh, you are accessible, you are available for them, even though they are not the outgoing type. And then, I've said this already too, try and read about other people's culture, especially when you have people that are different, maybe by their race or where they are from. Anything that is different that you know that, oh, this is something that you need to pay attention to, and it's not something that you are really familiar with. Try and read a bit, there are a lot of resources online that you can just read or watch videos that will give you some enlightenment about that. All right, so the call to action. How do we ensure that our living space, our community is inclusive? We have to make the commitment that we're going to make daily interactions as you see people that, usually, as I said, those who don't feel always outgoing, not talking, not really. How can you have interactions and communications with them to make them know that, oh, I see you? I'm sure that there are some residents that will be like, just eating. Because when I interact with some of my RAs, I see that there are some residents that they don't really know, they don't see, because they are really reserved. How can you see that you carry them along? So you have to commit to building an inclusive environment. Also, participation. And finally, being a role model. You must be that person that is interested in seeing that everyone is carried along. You are inviting people to programs. You want to take note who is there, who is not there. And even those that are there, who are those people that are really just quiet or just hiding? Is there something that is happening in the room or in the event that doesn't really go well with them? So that you can address it and make them feel a part of the community. And finally, inclusivity is a shared responsibility, and it requires the active participation of everybody in the community. Of course, it's not just the RA, no. Even your residents, as you notice, or if you see anything that is going on or they are doing, you need to call their attention, you need to hold them accountable. That this behavior, this attitude is causing this harm, and make them know, of course, in a loving way and in a way that they wouldn't be hurt too. Also, by fostering an environment of respect, equity, and understanding, we can create space where everyone feels valued and supported. The goal of this is to make sure that is to help these residents succeed. And so, we want to make sure that the space where they are is fostering that. And then, inclusivity is not just about policies, but about daily action and attitude that contribute to welcoming atmosphere. So together we can build a resilient and supportive residential life environment that celebrates diversity and nurtures success There will be times that it won't be easy. You'll be faced with difficult situations. Definitely, you have supervisors. You are not alone, especially for medias. You are never alone. Like, that's one thing I love about wrestling. You are never alone. You have people, RAs that know a lot that you can talk to. You have your direct supervisor. You have another layer of supervisor, and you have the next layer. So you are never alone. When we are confronted with difficult situations, it's good we reach out. So it's important that we try our best. One thing I really love is the fact that we are all still learning, and there's room for mistakes, for being able to correct your mistakes and learn from them and not repeat them is something very, very important. Okay. That's the end of my board presentation. I know it's boring, but thank you for enjoying my presentation. Thank you. So if you have any questions, contributions to, you are welcome to ask or to contribute. Anyone? All right. Thank you for your time. I think you still have about, you still have about 3 minutes of this time and then 10 minutes to transition to the next presentation. I can check that too. So the next session, you would have microaggression, E102. We're going to have white accountability right here, 105. Then you're going to have inclusive community, this again, 430. And then toxic masculinity at 432. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just saw an opportunity.
435. And let's suggest it.
Charles group were suggest